Kakashi gathered chakra to his feet and expelled it with great force, causing him to rocket up into the sky with insane velocity. "Cool, you're flying!" Naruto shouted excitedly. "Not exactly," Kakashi shrugged as he landed. "You can use that same concept to make you run faster horizontally as well, and also to your hands." He turned to a large boulder and used the chakra enhanced punch to make it crumble into fine dust. "That's awesome! You'll have to satisfy three requirements before I consider teaching you more," Kakashi said as he tossed the kunai up in the air and lodged it into the side of one of Konoha's tall outer walls. "Once, you have to be able to jump as high as that kunai. 2, you have to break the Academy speed record for running around the perimeter of Konoha. And 3, you have to be able to crush a boulder with one clean hit. Come and see me once you've mastered these 3 applications of chakra." "Alright, I'll get right on that." Kakashi chuckled to himself at Naruto's enthusiasm. He was sure that those training exercises would take a long time to master. They were all high drain chakra exercises, so chakra exhaustion would definitely slow down the training, giving Kakashi more time to himself. And his book. Look at him! That's his 4th time around. That boy works so hard. I feel safe knowing that Konoha's younger generation is so determined. Naruto felt proud as he made his runs around the perimeter of Konoha. He never got this kind of respect before he had donned the face mask and became Hatake Arashi. Before, people even tried to sabotage his training whenever he trained in public, but now all that was behind him. "You!" Naruto blinked as a green-clad boy with extremely thick eyebrows stopped in front of him. "Who are you?" "I'm Rock Lee, and I have sensed the incredible burning of your youthful fire." The one who would then be known as Thick Brows exclaimed. "Rock Lee?" Arashi's eyes widened. "As in, Rock Lee, who holds the Academy speed record for running around the perimeter of Konoha? I see that you're trying to break my record." Rock Lee's teeth pinched as he gave Arashi the nice guy pose. "Don't get in my way. I'll break your record. You'll see," Arashi frowned. "On the contrary, I will run with you. I want to see you break my record. I will be proud to note that the springtime of youth has spread," Lee declared in a cheerful voice. "But most of all," Rock Lee's demeanor suddenly changed, "I want to prove, both to myself and everyone else, that hard work will defeat genius someday. You work very hard, I can see that, and it would make me very happy if you were able to defeat any genius you come upon." Thick Brows. "But first, these." Lee sat down and took off his leg warmers, revealing a pair of weights. "You can borrow mine for today, but I shall ask Guy Sensei to get you a pair as well tomorrow. You always go around with these on?" Arashi asked, shocked at how heavy the weights were. "Of course, and from now on you shall as well. Oh, how the springtime of youth excites me so. Let's go!" A hidden grin crossed Naruto's face as he struggled to run with the weights on. This guy. Thick Brows. Hard work will defeat genius someday. That's right, I'll beat Uchiha Sasuke for sure. It's a promise of a lifetime. Sakura. "Yes, Sensei?" Sakura asked as she packed her school materials to go home. Most everyone else had left, but that day had been Sakura's turn to clean up the classroom after school. "Since he was absent today, could you take these homework assignments to Arashi's house?" Iruka asked, handing a set of papers to the pink-haired girl. She hesitated for a moment. "Okay," Sakura, the diligent student that she was, couldn't possibly turn down a request from her teacher. Though of course she really didn't have anything else to do. It's not like she had any friends to hang out with or anything. That thought made her sigh. On the surface, she appeared to be one of the more popular girls in class, but deep down she knew that she had no meaningful bonds with any of her classmates, not since her friendship with Ino had deteriorated away. Soon, Sakura found herself in one of the more run-down neighborhoods at the outskirts of Konoha. It was true that Konoha was a prosperous village, but it too had its share of poverty. Unemployment was an inevitable fact of society after all. He lives in a place like this? She wondered, slightly creeped out by all the graffiti on the walls of the crumbling buildings. Well, this is it. She knocked on the door and waited a few moments before being greeted by a slightly groggy-looking Arashi. Hello. Irika-sensei asked me to bring these homework assignments to you, she explained quickly, before he got the wrong idea or anything. Oh, thanks, Sakura, he said, and she could tell that he was smiling under the mysterious mask of his. Do you want to come in? I was just about to make dinner. I don't want to impose, she replied lamely. It won't be any problem, and it would be nice to have some company, he assured cheerfully. Suddenly, inner Sakura decided to make her presence known. Go for it. The only person Sasuke pays attention to in class is Arashi, so maybe if you hang out with him, you'll be in Sasuke peripheral vision. Maybe you can even get him jealous. I don't know, Sakura frowned her brow for a moment. It's not like Arashi is gross like the other boys in class. He's just not as good as Sasuke, that's all. Just go for it, inner Sakura urged. Sakura sighed. Okay, dinner sounds nice. Great, come in. Sorry for the mess though, Arashi chuckled sheepishly. Messy. That's an understatement. Sakura raised an eyebrow as she looked around the apartment. My parents would kill me if our house was in this state. It's okay. I don't have any parents to kill me, Naruto shrugged casually, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. You live alone? Sakura asked, shocked. I'm a ninja. As Sasuke had said during our last match, a ninja's life isn't all flowers and sunshine. Arashi gave her a crooked grin under his mask. Make yourself at home. I'll get dinner ready in a second. As Arashi disappeared into the kitchen, Sakura took another look around and confirmed that no grown-ups lived there. She wasn't exactly sure how she could tell, but she just got the vibe from the childish nature of the apartment. It was a child sanctuary, far away from the cold and harsh adult world. At first, the fact that the two top students in her class lived alone and were completely self-dependent had made her feel very immature and foolish. But now she realized that despite everything, Arashi was still a child too. Perhaps Sasuke was as well. She smiled a little as she picked up the academy textbook that were scattered around the floor and organized them in a nearby desk. This place really needs a girl's touch, she thought, amused. Dinner's ready, Naruto announced a little while later. Sakura made her way into the small room that doubled as a kitchen and a dining room. What awaited her completely surprised her. She had expected just a simple dinner of perhaps rice and some instant food, but instead there was a complete dinner, not unlike what her mother had cooked at home. It wasn't elaborate at all, but completely unexpected from an 11-year-old. But then again, this 11-year-old lived all by himself. I've never prepared a meal for two, so I kinda got excited and went a bit overboard, he explained sheepishly. I've been practicing the past couple of weeks, so I hope you like it. It looks delicious, she giggled. His cheerful attitude still kinda threw her off guard sometimes, but today she felt a lot more comfortable around him. Maybe it was because his image was so dark and mysterious with the face mask and all. Most would expect him to be another coming up Uchiha Sasuke, but instead his personality was a complete 180 from his physical appearance. It required some getting used to. Then, Naruto suddenly realized his mistake. Inhaling his food like he did during the school lunch breaks would be rude, since he had been the one to invite her to eat dinner with him. He sighed as he took a kunai and slit a hole in his mask for his mouth. He didn't like wasting things, since he wasn't exactly rolling around in money, but he guessed that buying another mask would be worth the expense. Why do you hide your face? Sakura asked curiously. Same reason I don't have parents, I guess, he replied vaguely, trying to dodge the question. Sakura nodded, seeing that he was uncomfortable with the subject. So, what kept you from school today? I overslept, he replied sheepishly. I started this new training routine, but I guess I kinda overdid it and went into chakra exhaustion. Whoa, you must train really hard, Sakura said, impressed. I don't think I've ever experienced chakra exhaustion. Well, I have to train hard and become Hokage, he said cheerfully. There are a lot of geniuses out there, but I'll show everyone that hard work will defeat any genius. The training that he had gone through with Rock Lee had left a deep impression in his mind. It's not fair that there are ninja out there that work so hard and don't get the respect they deserve, while the genius ninja never have to work hard at all and are given everything to them on a silver platter. Arashi, my hard work will make me Hokage, and then everyone will respect me, he finally declared. That's quite a goal, Sakura smiled. She took in everything that he had said to heart, and for the first time ever, resented the genius Uchiha, even if it was just a tiny bit. Once dinner was over, Arashi walked Sakura home. Even though she had insisted that it wasn't necessary, she was pleased nevertheless. It was the first time anybody had ever walked her home after all. Once Naruto got back to his apartment, he noticed something that he had been too preoccupied to notice before. His apartment was spotless. Lately, Hatake Arashi had been coming to school less and less frequently, and when he decided to show up, he always seemed worn out. Kakashi's training, in addition to Rock Lee's weight handicap, was really taking its toll. He usually chose days where Iruka would focus on physical conditioning to skip out though, so that he wouldn't miss out on academic material that he was expected to know. Iruka could see that Naruto really was working beyond an academy student's limit, so he never admonished him for skipping class. Iruka was covering mission tactics that day, so Arashi had decided to show up, much to the girls' excitement. They had been waiting for him to show up, for they had a devious plan in mind. Hinata! Hinata was greatly startled. It wasn't every day that someone would call out for her. Yes? She stammered nervously as some of her classmates approached her. Your eyes have X-ray vision or something like that, right? Yuffie asked excitedly. You could say that, Hinata replied hesitantly. Cool. Then you could look underneath Arashi's mask, right? Kusami added. Tell us what he looks like. Hinata started sweating and twiddled her fingers. Well, usually the Byakugan is used for looking at chakra coils or extending peripheral vision, but fine-tuning it to look through just clothing. Her blush swelled at the implication. It requires a lot of chakra control that I don't have. Aw, but you could try anyway, Himawari pleaded. Hinata sighed in defeat. Okay, she replied weakly. Byakugan. She turned towards where Arashi was sitting and could see his chakra coils clearly. The strange thing was that his chakra coils was nothing like she had ever seen before. He had a reservoir of strange red chakra in addition to the regular blue chakra that she was used to. Well, do you see it? Yuffie asked. Just a second. Hinata tried, manipulating the amount of chakra in her eyes until the chakra coils got fuzzy. She furrowed her brow in deep concentration, fine-tuning the amount of chakra in her eyes until she got it just right. Then she faded right then and there, her face redder than it had ever been before. Hinata? Does that mean that Arashi is really hot? Yeah. Hinata never seemed interested in guys before, so for her to just faint like that... Oi, Hinata, snap out of it. So, this is the youthful Arashi that Leah's been telling me about, Guy chortled cheerfully, slapping Naruto on the back. Lee tells me that you two have been training together lately. Arashi, this is Guy Sensei, Lee introduced in his usual jolly manner. Nice to meet you. Naruto grew a sweat drop at seeing how familiar the student-teacher combo was. Then again, he could say the same about Arashi and Kakashi. Arashi dreams of becoming Hokage someday, Lee explained. We will prove that we can become great ninja through hard work. as expected of Lee's training partner. "What beautiful and passionate youthful fire," Guy cried out. As this somewhat ridiculous banter continued between the two beautiful green beasts of Konoha, any other ninja would have sighed and looked away in disgust. But Naruto wasn't just any other ninja. He was a lonely one, and he looked on, with his usual forced smile covering up the small bit of jealousy welling up in his eyes. The next day, Arashi was absent from school again. On these types of days, Sakura would stick around after class for a bit and Iruka would ask her to deliver homework to Arashi's house. At first, she would always make an excuse to herself for staying late, whether it was help cleaning up the classroom or starting on an assignment or anything of that sort, in order to convince herself that Iruka was just picking her for delivery duty because she was conveniently available. However, lately she had finally resigned herself to admitting that she actually wanted to go see Arashi, and usually volunteered once class ended. "I'll take these to Arashi." "Thanks, Sakura," Iruka said with a smile, handing her a small stack of papers. "No problem, Iruka-sensei. See you tomorrow." Sakura quickly made her way to Arashi's house, used the spare key that he had given her to open the door. Sometimes on the days that Arashi skipped school, he was too bedridden to answer the door, so he had given Sakura a spare key for whenever she delivered homework assignments to him. It was a completely innocent reason to have the key to a boy's apartment, but the fact that she had it, and that most other girls would kill to have it, still made her blush a bit. "Arashi, I'm coming in," Sakura announced. She looked around a bit, but found him nowhere inside. Maybe we went out to train." She placed the homework assignments on the kitchen table before starting on the cleaning up the place. Arashi, despite all the praise and attention he garnered from the girls in class, was actually a very messy person. So Sakura had put it on herself to clean up the place every once in a while. She actually liked to do domestic stuff like housework, so she didn't really mind. She was pretty sure that the Uchiha were big on tradition and things like that, meaning that a domesticated housewife was probably preferable for Sasuke. She sighed at the thought of the dark-haired class genius as she started washing the dishes that were piling up in Arashi's sink. Earlier that day had been Sasuke's latest attempt to ask Sakura's latest attempt to ask Sasuke out on a date, but as usual he had turned her down. Her only solace was that he had also turned down Ino and the rest of the girls in the class as well. After doing all the dishes and straightening out the kitchen and living room, she plopped down on the couch and let out another depressed sigh. Usually Arashi was around to listen to her rant about her problems, but not today. She had nowhere to vent. Though still, just being inside Arashi's house, his sanctuary from the harsh outside world, made her feel at ease, and she soon fell asleep. "Kakashi-sensei!" Kakashi looked up from his book to find Arashi standing before him. "Finished with the training I gave you already?" he asked in surprise. No, not yet," Naruto replied sheepishly. "I was just wondering, if you can at least just supervise my training." Kakashi raised an eyebrow and shrugged. "There's nothing to supervise. The training exercises I gave you are all very straightforward." "Yeah, but still, I have missions of my own to complete too, Don't expect me to hold your hand during training," Kakashi sighed. Naruto's shoulders slumped a bit with disappointment, showing in his single visible eye. After seeing the relationship between Guy and Lee, he desperately wanted Kakashi to really accept and acknowledge him. "You're right." Naruto grinned, immediately masking his disappointment with his usual cheerfulness. "I guess I should go back to training then." Naruto, wait. Huh? What is it, Kakashi-sensei? I have to hurry up and train. Kakashi smiled a little, the way he did with his one visible eye. Don't push yourself too hard. Why don't we take a ramen break? My treat. Naruto paused for a moment, letting the proposition sink in. Then his previous disappointment was replaced by a real cheerfulness, not just a mask. Alright, ramen. For the first time ever, Naruto took his time with his ramen. It was supposed to be a bonding time with his new teacher after all. Sakura? When Naruto got home, he was surprised to find his pink-haired classmate fast asleep on his couch. Sakura, wake up, it's pretty late. Arashi, she asked groggily, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes. You're back. Come on, I'll walk you home, he offered, holding out his hand to help her up to her feet. You don't have to, you know, she replied, though that was what she said, and he always ended up walking her home anyways. So, how was school? He asked, as they took to the darkened streets of Konoha. I got rejected by Sasuke again. Sakura let out a weak, forced laugh. Rashi stuffed his hands in his pockets and stared up at the stars. He still failed to understand the dark and brooding boy. He thought that maybe now that he was popular, he could now understand the Uchiha's position, but that wasn't the case. In fact, he was more confused than ever. You really like him, huh? Yeah, she let out a long sigh. I don't even know why, I just do. If you need a reason to love someone, Arashi trailed off with a soft laugh. Sakura smiled. Yeah, you're right. Love doesn't need a reason, huh? I'm sure Sasuke will come around someday, Arashi assured. I'd like to think that I'd take off my mask only for the person who I believe will accept me for who I really am. So, maybe Sasuke will take his mask off for you when he comes to realize that you really do have feelings for him. Sakura giggled. So you do have a romantic side to you after all. I do? He laughed, scratching the back of his head. So, is there a girl you like? She asked as they reached her house. You, was the blunt and straightforward answer. She blinked and took a moment to process that one word. No. Really, who do you like? She asked with a smile. Really, I like you. Come on, seriously, who do you like? She asked playfully, punching him in the arm. Naruto looked at her with defeated eyes for a moment, knowing full well why she kept refusing to believe his confession. Ino's kinda cute, he replied jokingly, putting his mask off, cheerfulness back on. Really? You think Ino Pig is cute? Sakura giggled. Good luck with that. I'll help you out with Sasuke any way I can. Arashi turned around to leave. See ya. The next morning started out very strange. Arashi? Naruto stopped to see Hinata standing nervously by the swing that was in front of the academy. Oh hey Hinata. However, he suddenly stopped when he realized that she looked like she was about to cry. What's wrong? I'm really sorry. Her voice was cracking from trying to fend off the tears that were threatening to flood. They made me, I'm really sorry. With that, she ran off in tears. What was that all about? He wondered out loud. He ran off after her into the school building, but as he made his way through the hallways of the school, he was getting strange looks from everyone and they would avoid him like a plague. What's going on? He wondered. Then it hit him. Hinata! He suddenly broke into a sprint and barged into the classroom, but it was immediately pelted by dozens of dusty chalkboard erasers. The girls were glaring at him angrily. Get out of here, Naruto! I can't believe I was all over him. What were we thinking? How could we have ever left Sasuke's side for him? Naruto stared in horror at the scene that was before him. He then gave Sakura a desperate look, but she looked confused and unsure of how to react and refused to meet his gaze. Then there was Hinata, quietly sobbing in the corner of the room. He was sure that the girls must have pressured her into using her bloodline limit to find out his identity. Get out of here, Naruto. Yeah, nobody likes you. He ripped off his mask, clenching it in his fist angrily. You shouldn't have dragged Hinata into this, he shouted fiercely. That threw most of the class off guard. The fact that he didn't try to defend himself and that the very first thing he said was in defense of someone else was surprising. It's your fault for deceiving everybody, the girls just resorted in recovery. You brought it on yourself. Everybody hates you, Naruto. Just admit it. Naruto ground his teeth together as tears started spilling to the floor. He had finally experienced a normal life, a life where he wasn't hated by everyone around him. He had finally been accepted and acknowledged, and he loved it. But now it was all falling apart right in front of his eyes. He couldn't take it anymore. Fine, I hate this village anyways, Naruto screamed and dashed away. What's going on? Where is Arashi going? Iruka asked, clueless as he entered the classroom. Naruto, not Arashi. Iruka's eyes widened in shock, realizing what must have happened. No, Naruto. He badly wanted to go look for him, but he had a class to teach. He decided to scold the students and go look for the boy later. This is too much for a 12-year-old, the Hokage murmured to himself, shaking his head sadly as he watched the scene through his crystal ball. A child shouldn't have had to go through what he's been through. The next day, Iruka was shocked to find a note of withdrawal laying on his desk. He had failed to find Naruto the day before, but now he feared the worst, that he had run away from the village. He made the announcement of Naruto's withdrawal shortly after class began. He held his anger in check as the girls in class began cheering in the good news. Suddenly, Sasuke got up and walked towards the exit. Sasuke, you should have gone to the bathroom before class, Iruka scolded. I'm not going to the bathroom, Sasuke replied darkly. I'm leaving. Suddenly, the classroom quieted. You can't leave, Iruka stated firmly. Class is in session. Naruto left, Sasuke huffed. I withdraw from school as well then. He snatched Naruto's withdrawal letter from Iruka and then signed his name below Naruto's. But why? You're number 1 in the class. You can't just drop out, Iruka argued. The dobe was number 2, Sasuke shot back as he spun around to leave. Sasuke, come back, Iruka shouted, but to no avail. What are you doing here? To make fun of me? Naruto huffed angrily as he went back to training. Fight me, Sasuke merely said. Huh? Naruto stared at the dark-haired boy incredulously. I didn't like you as Naruto. I didn't like you as Arashi. Which name you go by doesn't change the fact that you're the only person worth fighting, he replied as he got into his fighting stance. The only way I'll get stronger is if I fight strong people. Is that so? Naruto grinned. Fine, but on one condition. Yeah? You have to give Sakura a chance. One date, that's all. Naruto smirked, his head cocked to one side. Sasuke frowned. Why should I agree to such a condition? Hey, you're the one that wants to fight me, Naruto taunted, egging the Uchiha on. I'm fine with not fighting you. Fine. One date, Sasuke growled. It's a small price to pay for strength. Now you're talking. I'll kick your butt this time. I'm stronger than before, you know? Naruto grinned as he got into the fighting stance that Lee and Guy had taught him. Bring it, Sasuke scoffed. He could feel it, that excitement, the tension, the feeling that only fighting a strong person could bring him. Take this! Naruto used his chakra to rocket himself at Sasuke with a speed that Sasuke had never seen before. He quickly put his arms up to block, but Naruto's chakra-enhanced kick still sent him flying backwards until he slammed into a tree. This is the high-tension battle I've been looking for, Sasuke grinned almost maniacally as he studied the chakra burns on his arms. Don't hold back. I need to get stronger. You're not the only one, Naruto returned a grin with another powerful kick. Sasuke was ready for it this time and ducked. He counterattacked with a quick elbow, but found that his target was no longer there. He quickly spun around and blocked the incoming attack from behind. You're fast, Naruto grinned. To have seen that one coming. Faster than you, Sasuke resorted as they went at it again. Sasuke sent Naruto flying straight into a tree with a powerful missile kick, but was surprised that Naruto had managed to recover by sticking to a tree and standing horizontally on its trunk. Where did you learn all these interesting applications of chakra? Sasuke grinned as he quickly caught on and raced up the tree by gathering chakra to his feet. Bastard, you mastered it already. Naruto wailed as they engaged in a treetop combat. Took me weeks to get up to that height. That's why I'm better than you, Sasuke scoffed as he tossed a vicious combo of punches at Naruto, unwilling to admit how difficult running up the tree really was for even him. Suddenly, a shower of shuriken separated the two fighters and interrupted their match. What was that for? Naruto demanded angrily. 3-bay battle royale. Every man for themselves, Kiba declared. Tsuga. Nah, this is interesting, Sasuke smirked, jumping out of the way of the vicious tornado spin attack. Fuma Shuriken, Kage Fusha. Don't forget about me. Naruto used the chance to attack Sasuke while his attention was diverted. This is very interesting indeed. Sasuke grinned as he just barely managed to block Naruto's attack, realizing how much more difficult it was to fight two opponents at once. Naruto was about to send follow-up punch, but found that his body wouldn't budge. Huh? Suddenly, it's a 5-man battle royale. Shikamaru grinned, his shadow having captured Naruto. Kage Main no Jutsu. Success. Nikudan Senshu. Naruto's eyes widened as a gigantic bowling ball came crashing towards him. You're open. Tsuga. Kiwon went straight towards Shikamaru, forcing him to release his jutsu, allowing Naruto to just barely escape Choji's attack. Katon. Gukai. You know what? It's just a fireball jutsu. Just say a fireball jutsu. Why do you make things more difficult? Tsuga. Kage Main no Jutsu. Nikudan Sensha. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. You're all crazy for withdrawing from the academy like that. Naruto laughed through a mouthful of ramen. You're the one that started it, Kiba shot back, pointing his chopsticks accusingly. Think how strong we'll be if we do this every day, Choji said cheerfully as he thoroughly enjoyed his hearty meal after such an intense training session. It's better than what we do at the academy, Sasuke agreed stoically. They were all heavily bruised and bandaged after the battle royale, which was a far cry from the posh academy sparring matches. It's troublesome, Shikamaru muttered, staring up at the clouds and lazily picking at his noodles. So you all dropped out of the academy? Toechi, the owner of the Chiraku ramen stand, asked curiously. Yup, Naruto chuckled. Even though we can't become ninja anymore, we can still be mercenaries or ronin. Doesn't really matter as long as we're stronger than other ninja. Sasuke huffed, thinking about his brother Itachi. Right, then every day at the same spot, Naruto grinned. We can get Gai Sensei and Kakashi Sensei to train us. Kakashi's your sensei? Toichi asked in surprise. The famous Sharingan Kapi ninja Kakashi? Sharingan? Sasuke's ears perked up. Yup, Kakashi Sensei is so cool, Naruto replied in pride. Sasuke grinned. Dropping out of school was really for the best after all. Naruto sighed as he arrived to an empty home. Okay, before we continue on, don't drop out of school. That's not YouTube. That is not what we're telling people to do. Okay, don't drop out of school. Okay, just want to clarify that. He had gotten accustomed to having Sakura deliver assignments to him and maintaining the apartment, but now it was a complete mess like before the Arashi days. He tried to convince himself that she didn't visit him because he was no longer in school, so there weren't any homework assignments to deliver, but he really knew that it was because his secret was now out. It was nice while it lasted, he sighed, as he plopped face down into his couch, where Sakura had often fallen asleep. Still smells like her. Sasuke is back! Really? It's Sasuke? Oh, Sasuke! Sasuke fought the urge to groan as he made his way through the familiar hallways of the academy. He, along with Naruto, Shikamaru, Kiba, and Choji, hadn't stepped foot inside the school building for weeks. It was almost graduation though, so Sasuke figured he should ask Sakura out now while she was still an academy student, otherwise he would have trouble finding her if she was out on a genin mission. Sakura, the pink-haired girl, looked up from her homework to find a pair of sharp dark eyes staring at her. So Sasuke? Date, he muttered simply, stuffing his hands in his pockets. This caused the entire class to quiet. Huh? Sakura couldn't believe her ears. What? Let's go out on a date. Sasuke suddenly looked up at the ceiling to avoid her gaze. You always wanted it, right? But it's so sudden, she stammered, blushing furiously. She had asked him out and had gotten rejected so many times that she never actually had thought about what she would do if he had actually accepted. So this situation was very different for her. Don't get the wrong idea, he muttered. I'm only doing this because it's part of my contract. Sakura's face fell. Contract? Naruto would only agree to be my training partner if I agreed to give you a chance. One date, he explained darkly. Naruto. So, is there a girl you like? You. No, really. Who do you like? Really, I like you. Come on, seriously. Who do you like? Sakura now realized that Arashi, or rather Naruto, had not been joking that one night. It was an obvious fact that Naruto liked Sakura after all, but then, why would he corner Sasuke into dating him? Into dating her? She wondered, completely confused. He wants you to be happy, you idiot, inner Sakura screamed at her. So, today, I picked you up at 5. Sakura's heart started beating faster at the thought of going out on a date with Uchiha Sasuke. She blushed and started twirling her fingers in a Hinata-like fashion. Is that okay with you? No, she said suddenly, standing up and causing all the girls in the class to gasp. I'm sorry, but I can't date you. At least not until I find Naruto first. With that, she sprinted out of the class. Sasuke sighed as he sat down in Sakura's seat with his feet up on her desk, smiling a bit as he stared up at the ceiling. I've been rejected. Naruto! She banged on his door, but got impatient and used her spare key to barge in. She found him asleep on the couch, much like the way she would fall asleep after cleaning up his apartment. Naruto. She made his way over to his side and put a gentle hand on his whiskered cheek, causing him to stare. Sakura? He murmured groggily, wondering if he was still dreaming. She gave him a soft smile. Come back to school, you idiot. The end. I hope you've all enjoyed. Smash that like button if you did. Comment any comment you have. I read all comments. And have a great day. I'll see you all in the next part. Roll the outro. 1, 2, 3